What's going on, everybody? Want to do a huge thank you to our YouTube top tier member, Freak Maniac 90210. Triple Crown and Grand Slam still open for anyone who signs up for those top three. Get that shout out. YouTube memberships are available as well as Patreon. Links below for all social media for myself and my guest. And check out merchandise. We both got some t-shirts. Go get some cool t-shirts for myself or Dante. Rock them. If you get a photo, if you get a piece of merchandise, make sure you send a photo to one of us wearing your merchandise so we can show you that love on social media. All right, that's pretty much all I got for this housekeeping stuff. Let's get into ABJ Podcast presents Not Cool in High School Horror, episode 149, Abigail with Dante James. Let's have some fun. Here's some music by the Converse Kid. What's going on? I don't know, my computer lags sometimes and I'm trying to click it off and it keeps popping back up. It's the heat. Computer's struggling already. We're chugging along. What is going on? Oh, look at your all your lovely supporters all hanging on. Bella and Heidi are already reporting for duty because you probably said again, if you don't show up.
Without a doctor's note. I didn't get any, so y'all better be here. I'm actually opening the video so I can see everyone on YouTube. So I'm on StreamYard right now. Yeah. Okay, Anthony, real quick. Okay, I just have to say this to you. I never knew that stood for not cool in high school.
Oh, really?
I literally thought, okay, and it's only because I'm a dumbass, okay? It makes sense now.
Okay.
I thought it was like a weird spelling of knocked, like the German way you say night, like, or knocked, or that's what I thought it was. And
it's way cooler than what it was.
I thought it was like night horror. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But I like that. I like not cool in high school, because I wasn't cool in high school.
Yeah, same, me neither. Not cool in high school. Plus it started off like growing up, if I went to school and told people I watched pro wrestling or I watched Power Rangers or Pokemon or I was into like pop culture nerdy stuff, like you got picked on for that. Now in today's time, if you know stuff about Deadpool before the new movie drops, like you're getting laid. You know what I mean? Like it pays off to be a nerd. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, because they offer superhero movies.
Yeah. You're like, you take your date out and they're like, what do you know about the Guardians of the Galaxy? I'm like, well, sit down. Stimulate your brain. Yeah. So yes, that's the premise of the Not Cool in High School. And then normally the logo for the actual podcast is a photo of me as a child, but like done up all like cartoony. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this is like the spin-off of that, where it's just represented for the horror side of things.
I like it though. I like it. Now that I know what it means, I like it. It makes sense.
Yeah. So what's been new with you since we last sat down and did a cool movies review?
Well, JB is celebrating 3 years of sobriety today. He's somewhere around here, but he's celebrating 3 years of sobriety. And I also have, I can't say what it is yet though, but I have like a cool collab coming out soon with a company that I really, really like. So I'm super excited about that. But I can't say anything about it yet, because whenever I talk about stuff, then like something happens.
You
know what I mean? Oh, 100%. That has happened so many times. But yeah, just LIVIN. Anthony, how about you?
Same. Just the content's been really cruising. I've kind of dialed it back. Instead of doing like 3 or 4 episodes a week, I'm just doing one, and I think it's working much better. I think the 6 o'clock start times have been better too. So we're finding our place. With the new job, I'm able to save up some bucks, and I'm getting the camera I want. So the cool thing with the camera that I want is most of my content going forward is like sometimes won't be always live, because I can come to the person and bring my camera and we can film it and I can edit it and then we can do cool things with it. A lot of my interviews when I started this brand again before the pandemic was to do the interviews in a place where the guest feels comfortable. And then each background of each podcast or review or whatever it may be in a different location.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah,
That's
but
cool.
once again, with my joint disorder, I can't carry around, and I'm a one-man band. I can't carry around 14 duffel bags like I used to with lights and this and this. And this one camera is literally the size of a phone, and I can set it and I could record for hours as long as it has memory.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's super sick. I'll show you which one it is. It's great for content creators.
One of those ones that move.
Kinda. It has a little thing, like a gimbal on it.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
It's the DJI Pocket 3.
Yes, I know exactly what one you're talking about. That is so cool. I was actually looking at those too.
You should definitely get one because you can just slide it in a bag or a purse or I know like girls' jeans, you don't get pockets. You know what I mean? Like it's against the rules. I think they passed legislation that women are not allowed to have pockets. So
very shallow. The pockets are like that. There's only that much.
You can get like a little. Who knows? I don't know what you're putting in your pockets these days.
They have such good quality and sound, and for how small they are, they're amazing. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. So we were racking our brains. We had a whole bunch of movies we said to each other that we were going through the list, and when you seen this one, you're like, "That's the one." I really liked it. I think you would like it too. And I thought it was funny because both of us are always saying, and you're making content with like children, and you're like, "Nope, this is." And I think this is a representation of that.
I literally wrote in my notes, I love movies that show kids as they really are, little monsters.
Little tiny monsters. Absolutely, yeah. Well, this is my second, I guess, kid movie. Third kid movie I've done. I've done Megan, Late Night with the Devil, and now Abigail. So a lot of kids are represented in newer horror, which is not something that was not, I mean, not to say it wasn't done, but actually another one, Evil Dead Rise, that was like the first one where kids turned into demons in that series and they like killed a kid off. Like I was like, what are you? Not saying I enjoy that, but when in most horror movies, the kids are always safe, and those ones, it's like, oh, okay, we're not playing by rules anymore. It kind of makes you shake it up a little bit, you know.
Whenever I think of kid horror movies, the first movie that comes to mind is The Omen.
The Omen, okay.
It's all for you, Damien. Like every time I think of like an evil little kid in like a movie, I think of Damien. I don't know why. I
go Child's Play.
Oh, okay.
Because he's always trying to take like the soul of a young kid.
True. Andy Barclay.
Yes.
Actually, just saw Child's Play 2 the other night, and I haven't seen it. Actually, I don't think I've seen Child's Play 2 as much as I've seen 1 and 3, and I don't know why. But yeah, we just saw that. Speaking of Chucky,
I was at a Pride event and I was wearing my Pride stuff. Or I always wear something that represents Pride, even though it may not look like it's a Pride shirt, but it's like it's somebody in the community inspired. And I was at the show and somebody's wearing a Chucky shirt. I go, great Pride shirt, and they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, Chucky's Pride, and they're like, what? I'm like, the creator of and writer of Chucky is part of the community. I love when you go on Peacock or whatever. I think Peacock and the LGBTQ banner with all like representation, and Chucky's face is right in the middle.
And Chucky's right in the middle.
Yeah,
I know.
So
I
good.
Love it.
The new show has been fantastic.
I still have to see the new season. JB and I watched all of them, but we have not seen the new season yet because they didn't really promote the new season, like season 3. They really didn't like hype it up, so I keep forgetting that it's out. But I have to see.
It's on like 4 platforms now. It's on like Sci-Fi. It's on Peacock. It's on Shudder. Like they're trying to put it as many places as they can. I just feel like it's not grabbing on. But I think more people need to give it a chance.
Yes, 100. It's so funny. It's so funny.
Yeah. So this movie here, we'll give a quick rundown of this one because this one's wild, right? So the premise of this one, it was an American horror comedy in 2024. I'm not going to go through all the writers and stuff like that because I'm just going to ruin their names. So we're not even going to do any of that. But the film follows a group of kidnappers who kidnap the daughter of a powerful underworld figure and demand $50 million for her release. Being unaware of something more sinister. This movie was in development in 2023, and they had some issues with COVID where they filmed most of it and then they had to come back and film the rest of it after COVID. It was released on April 19th in 2024. in the United States, and then it had a Overlook Film Festival debut on April 7th. The runtime is 109 minutes. The budget is 28 million, and the box office made 42. And just to kind of give it a quick like rundown here, it was actually I'll get into the rest of that a little later. We'll kind of dive back into that. But we have a team of kidnappers. It's so to this one for me. As soon as I turned it on and I start watching it, I was like, oh, I'm watching a heist movie. And I'm into. I love a good heist, a good whodunit, a good heist, a good figure things out.
Yes,
it gave me everything I wanted when it came to like heist, but also like Clue. It reminded me a lot of Clue, where they were stuck in one house. Each room had its own theme, its own like the greenhouse room, the library. Yeah, they didn't know each other. They all have a weird backstory. They're all connected somehow, but they're good criminals. So like, it's awesome. Every element of that part of the movie I absolutely loved. And that's pretty much the first thing it said to me was it's a cool heist thing, all strangers on, locked in a home. And the scene where the dumb driver, R.I.P. Angus Cloud. Angus Cloud. I don't know how to say his name. I didn't know he existed until this movie. And then Lily was like, oh, he no longer is with us. And I was like, is that Mac Miller? I didn't know. He looks like Mac Miller. I think he was supposed to play Mac Miller in a movie. Yeah, but unfortunately he passed away. But when he's trying to do the whole scene and then the other girl goes, once again, terrible with names. I didn't write them down, but the other girl,
Newton.
Yes, she goes around and nails everybody on their who they are as a person, like nails it to a T, which was kind of cool.
No, you meant that I called her the final girl.
That's a great horror
with the bob haircut.
Yes.
Okay, I was talking about the blonde. The blonde's Catherine Newton. She was in Freaky, and I don't know if you ever saw Freaky.
No.
Oh, good comedy horror movie. And she was also just in Lisa Frankenstein too.
Okay, I have to look that one up.
She's in several things, but that's what I thought you were talking about. But yeah, I was calling her the final girl. I don't know why. I was just like, right off the bat, she's a final girl. She has the look, she has the haircut, she's the final girl, you know.
She had amazing eyes. Like when she had the mask up and all you see, I was like, how you doing? And then they were given, so the movie starts, they kidnap once again, spoiler alert if you haven't seen this movie, but they kidnap this little girl, they drug her up and they get her pretty easy. Bring her to their spot. Breaking Bad dude, I don't know what his character's name is in it, but he essentially says, you have 24 hours. I'm going to leave you guys here. Watch after her, party, drink, do whatever you want. I'll be back in the morning and we're going to get $50 million from this dude and we're going to call it a day. They don't know who the guy's, the daughter, like who she's this like daughter of. They don't know anything about each other. And they were told no grab ass, no learn each other's real names, don't learn anything about each other, just kind of go through the motions.
And then he gives them nicknames of the Rat Pack.
So
Sammy, Dean, Frankie. One of them he names what was it? I have it written here somewhere. He names I can't think of it. Rickles, Don Rickles. She's like, who's Don Rickles?
Yeah. I like later on when the big dumb guy's like, oh, Rat Pack, I get it now.
You see a lot of references to rats going in, but you don't realize it until later. But also, I want to add, going into this, like when you said like, oh, a good heist movie, to be completely honest with you, I was like, what is going on? Like, I didn't know what this movie was about going into it. Like, I just saw like a vampire ballerina and I was like, okay, cool. And I didn't like going in. I was like, okay, well, why isn't she fighting? Why isn't she, we know she's a vampire by the previews and all of that. So I was confused. I was like, why isn't she fighting them? Like, does she get turned into a vampire later? So I think that's really cool too. Cause you're wondering like what's going on? Like why are they kidnapping her? You're asking yourself so many questions, which keeps you engaged. And that's what kept me like hooked. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, same with me. Expectations wise, I knew there was a really creepy dancing kid dancing horror, always terrifying. I don't know.
Megan.
Once again, Megan. Yeah. And now this one. But yeah, expectations for me was the same thing. I only really seen one scene. I seen the scene where they had her in the cage, and then she's like, "I'm really sorry what's about to happen to you tonight." And she's just like, and you're just like, "Yeah, this little girl is a gangster." Anything else when it comes off to favorite things or things that stood out for you as we kind of go through this section here?
As far as like, again, my first impression, I didn't even know what it was about, to be honest with you. I just again saw that and went into it. But I think like some of my favorite things is that little girl is a great actress. Wow.
Very good.
Like
very good.
Wow. Which, fun fact, she was also in the new Matilda.
Okay.
So she played Matilda, and there's a new Matilda out, and it's like a musical, it's based on the Broadway musical, and she played Matilda, and I was like, JB told me that when we were watching it, and I was like, oh my gosh, so she like knows how to dance and sing, and so all that. I read that they were so impressed with her ballerina dancing that they made her do it more.
Yeah, they added
more.
Added
it to the movie, so that was probably one of my favorite things. Her acting was really great, and that it was like funny. I love a good horror comedy. I love being able to laugh and also be like, whoa, like.
And it was gory, like, so it scratches that gore itch too. So sometimes when you get horror comedy, they lean away from the gore and they go more PG-13. This still kind of made. What was this movie when it comes to its rating? I did not even notice that. I
would have to say close to an R.
Yeah, I would assume that as well. It really didn't. It didn't like register to me if they were cursing that heavily or not. Like it just didn't seem. Oh, it was rated R. It was rated R.
I was gonna say, because when we get to it a little later, there's this one scene that I'm thinking of where I'm like, yeah, this has to be rated R. Like it has to be. But go ahead. Sorry.
So one of the things I said to me also for me that I have written down here by number 2 after like the heist 24-hour thing. Also, they get their cell phones taken away, so they have no communication to the outside world. So they're pretty much stuck completely doing that. But so the house, if you're a video game player or if you ever watch some of the movies, this house reminds me of Resident Evil. Like the Resident Evil house. Like when you play that video game, there's a giant open room in the beginning. Then there's like the library, and like it was like Clue meets Resident Evil. Like each room had its own theme, its own feeling, its own energy, and I love that about that. Like they could have taken that movie and turned it into a Resident Evil movie and used that same house, and I would have been all for it. Like that's the big thing of Resident Evil. Every time you play one of those, there's always that big house that you have to explore. And it that's like the Resident Evil vibe, and that's what this movie gave me with the setting of the house.
And to be honest with you saying Resident Evil, like I've never played Resident Evil or know really what it's about, but this movie kind of reminded me that it would be a really cool, in certain aspects, like a really cool video game.
Yeah. Yep.
If they made it into one, especially with the house and all of that, I think it would make a pretty, because. Well, I'll say it once we like get to it.
Yeah. But Bella, we will be giving our 1 to 5 scale in just a moment here.
1 to sky.
Yes.
1 to sky.
Yeah. I loved the backstories. How we get the half where she kind of guesses everyone's backstory, and then once the little girl essentially comes out and she's like, I'm a vampire now, and y'all are fucked. And the movie really kicks into high gear. And then they have her locked up and she's like, oh, here's the real backstory. You guys all stole from my dad and me, and I'm here to take you all out. So kind of some context is her dad is this crime boss guy. And there's
Christoph. God, my notes are a mess. Oh, his name's Christoph. Oh, Christoph Lazar.
Yes. And he has a hitman who is they have no idea who he is, what they do, how he gets done, what he gets done. Lazar, yes. And they're violent. They rip organs out and there's blood. It's one of the most gruesome killings that they ever, and they don't know how they get into places. Like there could be 100 guards outside and they'll still find a way in. So this whole time, the first kill happens and they're like, oh, this is Lazar. He's here. because they know that who they're working with, and they're like, he's in the house. We're gonna do this. We gotta figure it out. And then they end up finding out that Lazar is actually Abigail, and Abigail's doing this for her father because her father doesn't accept her anymore. Yeah,
Abigail is handcuffed in the bedroom, but they think she is, but actually she's like running around the house, like picking people off without them knowing it's her. So I think she killed Angus first.
Yep.
And then the guy that they were calling Rickles. Then they killed him next. And they're like, what's going on? What's going on? And then I found it when they went up to her. I found it funny when he went up to her room and he forgot his mask. I was like, well, she already saw you. And I guess, and also, she knows who they are too. So I guess that really matter. But also, I know you're supposed to, but I hated his character. I hated.
Oh, I loved him.
His character. Oh God,
I loved him. I hated the character, but I thought he did the character so well.
Oh, he did, but
he's a dick.
Piece of shit.
I mean, sorry to offend anybody. He was a cop. He's a dickhead. You know what I
mean? True. But that's also where it comes in, where the rats come in, because she's like playing with them.
Yeah.
She's like throwing them around.
Play with her food. Yeah. Well, actually, the first kill is Angus sees the rat and he turns around and you hear the squish of the rat. Yeah, which is a kind of a cool little nod to what's about to come. But yeah, like she's just tearing them apart. Like one of my things I said too is I love how they do just subtle makeup and subtle contact and just mouth thing. Like they don't go over the top with a vampire look. They just do a little dark under the eyes, throw contacts in, and put the special effects mouthpiece in.
Yeah,
but it looks menacing and it looks really good. Like when she's the vampire, she looks awesome.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's what I mean. That's why in the beginning I was like, what's going on? Like we saw them, like where's that?
Yeah.
I was just
for a movie that tells you its key point in the trailer, I still don't think it took away from the movie, which is kind of surprising because it's like, well, you took the surprise away that this little girl is this. So you're kind of going into it like how you were saying before, like what's going on here, but it never once felt like it ruined the experience.
No, not at all. Not at all. I was sitting there on the edge of my seat like, what's going on? Like, okay, we know she's a vampire, but like what's all this other stuff going on?
Definitely not like True Blood. Yeah. True Blood, they kind of just stay the same and then their fangs retract and come back and forth. But real quick, I watched True Blood. I was obsessed with True Blood up until like season 3 or 4, and then I was done. Everyone, I liked it because it was like X-Men meets vampires and paranormal. But it got to the point where everybody was a mutant. Everybody had a special power. And it ruined it. Like I hated it. I couldn't stand it. And I hated Bill. I fucking hated Bill. Like Eric is 1,000 years older than Bill, and he's just like, "Hey everyone, I'm Eric." And Bill's like, "Oh, Suke, I concur." Like no one talks like that. Bill, grow up. Like get with the times. Why are you talking like that? I can't stand you.
How do you still have an accent?
Yeah. Suke.
After all these years, how do you still have an accent? Yeah. And the thing that made me mad, not to go on a whole True Blood tangent, but the thing that made me mad is why the hell did they make Suki a fairy? It gave nothing to the storyline. It made absolutely no sense. She didn't even really use the full extent of her powers the whole entire time, like all 60, like because we just watched the whole entire thing. So I'm fresh off seeing.
Didn't the season end with a musical too? They ended the show with a musical. Someone told me the last episode, like the season finale, was a musical. I said, if that's how it really ends, if you would have sucked me in for that much, I would have fucking been livid. If you end the whole, yeah.
I'm gonna have to double check on that, but I don't think it was, because that seems like something I'd remember. Like it seems like something was the last episode of True Blood a musical? No, JV said no.
Okay, maybe someone was messing with me then. Lafayette Lafayette and Suki's brother were the best characters of the whole.
Love Lafayette. Yeah. Love Lafayette.
What was Suki's brother's
Jason.
name? Yeah, he was awesome. He would just take the V and just bang chicks.
And even Bella's saying it here. Sookie didn't even want to be a fairy. She didn't even want to be a fairy. Like, what was the point? Just you should have just
werewolves and then panthers, and it got it got way out of control. Fun fact with that one, did you know Lafayette was supposed to die? Like in the books, he dies really, really early, but the fans loved the character so much they stretched out that character longer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, you can tell they stretched it out longer. Yeah, you can tell.
The book. Oh, not the book. The burger scene. It's like, what's wrong with my food? I don't want to tell you, Lafayette. Yes, what's wrong with my food? And he's like,
yes.
He said he didn't want AIDS on his burger, and he's like,
always comes up on Instagram and TikTok for me.
Yeah,
I love
AIDS,
that
baby.
clip.
All you had to say, not ask, and he just slaps him with the burger. I love that character.
Love it.
He's such a good actor. You don't ever really see him anything else.
No, you really don't. He was in something else. What was it? I think he was in The Help. I think he was in that. I believe, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's another one I feel like should get
really
more
good
roles.
actor. No, 100%.
Anything else on the favorite things that you want to check off your list here?
Hold on. Let me just look at my list real quick. I did like how now that I watched it a second time, and because I didn't notice the rats in the beginning. I was just like, okay, rats. Like, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's an old house. They have rats. But then when you put the connection of like, oh, like I love all the like little subtle thing, like, like little clues or whatever, as you would call them. As you're watching it, that the second time you're watching it, you're like, oh, that. And I just really liked. There's a part that was my favorite part, but when we talk about it, I'll say it.
We're jumping around. We're not really going in order of the movie. So if you want to say, yeah.
Okay. So at one point, Sammy, the blonde girl,
yes,
gets bit by Abigail, and she's freaking out because she's like, "What's going to happen?" And at this point, they have Abigail locked in an elevator, so she's like freaking out. Blah blah blah. So at one point in the movie, later on, Sammy doesn't turn into a vampire like in a time span. It was more like if she's bit, Abigail could take over her body at any time. And so she's using Sammy as like a puppet and like using her, and like I thought that was awesome. I thought that was so cool. So
there's
cool.
So many vampire tropes, right? So like we always do character sheets. Like what are the characters? So Abigail has like super strength, but she's kind of limited to her strength as well because she is still able to be held down by the bigger dude, even though she still has super strength. So there is definitely aspects to her, but also vampires, the older you get, the more abilities you can get, right? So you don't really see it in this movie, but I do believe she has the ability to glam people. So glam is like when you can kind of mind manipulate them, because she does that a little bit in the movie where she gets in the final girl's head by glamming her a little bit. She's amazing at the manipulation side. The super strength we talked about. Obviously sunlight is a weakness. We didn't really see crosses or garlic used as that. Sometimes a lot of newer
smelled it and threw it. And
and then she takes the cross and stabs dude.
And stabs him.
But the way that you turn, but you're not bound to a person, is if you consume their blood. So that you'll see that little later on. So if she bit her, but then Abigail would have given her blood, then that girl would have been able to be possessed or controlled by Abigail, because Abigail would have given her blood to give her free autonomy of herself and have her ability as a vampire.
See, that part I forgot, but no, I like that whole mind control thing. Like I forgot because yes, Dan Stevens later on in the movie gets a little crazy and greedy, and he turns into a vampire. Spoiler. I mean,
we're gonna get there. You know what I liked about that scene though is he does it. He drinks the blood, and then he just starts spewing blood out of his mouth. And Lily's like, why? And I was like, because he's undead. He's becoming a vampire. So when you're a vampire, you lose all of your blood because you're always trying to consume new batch.
Oh my god!
So that's why he's projectile vomiting all the blood out of his system.
do that.
Yeah. I love vampire stuff. Vampire and zombie are really high up for me.
But no, it makes sense though. Like it makes sense. Like I never thought about it that way, but now that you just explained it that way, I'm like, oh my God. I always wondered why vampires liked blood, but that
I liked how True Blood did it, where you had to do more of a ritual, where you had to be buried, and then there was always that connection of like between you and the vampire, or not like a mind control connection, but it's almost like a GPS radar, like you know where your people are, you know. Yeah,
but also the mind control of that Sammy girl that also kind of played off that a little bit, like it almost played off like I'm your master. They did that in True Blood, like I'm your maker and you're my, you know what I mean? It kind of played off that, like
it was like a sub-dom roll. If you know, you know, right?
Yes. Oh my God.
I might have just fooled my card a little bit there. I'm sorry.
I didn't even think about it that way. You just
True Blood, one of the things that True Blood did very well for vampires is they are very sexual creatures. Like the whole idea of vampires they're very sexual, like the whole biting of the neck, and they're always attractive.
But it played off that a little bit, kind of like the control thing. Like,
yep. So my next one on the list here, we kind of talked about a little bit, but the horror, heist, action and comedy elements of this movie are amazing. If you're someone who's really, really bad with horror, I think this movie will be fine for you, because every time there's something that's about to happen that's scary, they insert comedy to soften the blow immediately. And it's like, and the comedy isn't cheesy. It's good. It's funny. It fits in perfectly. Like there's more times where I'm laughing more than I'm scared in this movie, and I'm completely okay with it.
Oh, 100%. Yes, 100%. It's not corny like the horror, the gore, the comedy. It's done very well. Like very well. There's like a good balance of everything. It's really, really good. Really, really good.
And to add to that, I felt like I wrote too. I said every character they all had their place, they all had their moment, they all had exactly what they needed to be in that movie, and I thought they all shined so well. Like Late Night with the Devil, there wasn't like the only low character was probably maybe Augustus character, or August, or whatever his name is, but he was only in for a short time, so you like his character probably came off as annoying and dumb, but he doesn't last long enough to like attach yourself to him, I guess. But he played like, I don't know how he is as an actor, but if he's completely different than what he is in this role, he nailed it, because he made me like, what an idiot. You know what I mean? Like,
but they gave you enough where you were kind of like, oh shit, you know, like you didn't get to know him well or have this like character development, but I think they almost cast him like that so you could look at him and already assume either what his background is, where he came from, anything like that. So in a sense, when he did die, you were kind of like, oh, you know what I mean? Because I don't think he meant harm. You know what I mean? As for his character.
Yeah. Actually, I have not seen the Fright Night with Tom Holland. I have to go check that out. That's got to be pretty good. Fright Night's another good one. Didn't they do Fright Night with Colin Farrell at one point in time too? Was that a Fright Night remake? I didn't know they did a third one.
That's what I was just about to say.
I thought it was Fright Night with
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell,
and he died. Oh, what was that guy's name? He passed away. I think like a Jeep hit him up against a gate. Fright Night from Tom Holland.
I'd have to look into that. I like the concept of Fright Night. Another great vampire movie.
Yeah, 100. Oh, I love that movie.
You know
Such a good movie.
My favorite vampire movie? Everyone says Lost Boys, which is a great vampire movie. I love Dusk Till Dawn. I mean, Simon Hayek.
Yes. Yes.
That movie is fantastic. I actually got to hold the cock gun.
Oh, really? Cock gun.
In the movie where he has the underwear gun, like it's the dick and it's a gun.
I'm trying. It's been a minute since I've seen it. I know what it is and I've seen it, but to know like details like that. I don't
So
know.
the
But
guy
that
who does
sounds
all the special effects for that is Tom Savini, great special
okay.
effects artist. And when I met him, he had the Dust Till Dawn cock gun underwear. Yeah.
Oh,
Queen
okay.
of the Damned is a good one too. R.I.P.
Yeah, see, I was just about to say that. See, Anton Yelchin. Yeah, Anton Yelchin.
Got you. Thank you, JDM. Great call out there. I don't know directors like that. I know a little bit of directors, but I just kind of consume movies.
Queen of the Damned is my favorite vampire movie because a lot of people do say The Lost Boys, and like, of course, I love The Lost Boys, but I think Queen of the Damned with Aaliyah and like, and then of course, Interview with a Vampire because they're like kind of, but.
Ooh. Have you seen? There's two versions. There's the original, and there's the one with that Chloe girl who was like taking over movies for a while as a young actress. Let Me In. Have you ever seen that one?
Yes. Oh,
That's
I love
sick
that one.
Movie. Yeah,
that one's good. Yeah, that one's my top 5. I love that one where she's living next door in the apartment buildings. That little boy. Yes.
Yeah, and then then the little boy, because the old man eventually dies of old age, who's been taking care of her. We could do a whole like tier of rating our favorite vampire movies. I love it.
Oh my gosh, love it.
So much more ideas for content.
I forgot about Let Me In. I forgot about that movie, and it's such a good one. It's so good, so good.
Yeah. The last thing I have here when it comes to like the movie in general that I really liked about it, I love that sunlight doesn't like it. So like when she's the puppet, there's a little bit of sunlight coming into the room, and I guess there's enough UVs blocked out that she just smokes from it. Like you see her smoking when she's dancing in the green room. But if you get a full on shot of sunlight, you just explode. Which is the coolest.
Exploded.
Yeah, or like the stake to the heart explode. Yeah.
Yes. I agree. I think that's the best, and I honestly think that is the way they should go out. Vampires. Yeah. You know what I mean? They should explode.
The Shed. I have to look into that one.
Maybe we'll have to do that one if me and you have never seen it before. We should maybe do that for our next one.
The Shed?
Because like we have to do stuff that me and you. I like doing stuff that me and you have never seen. Because then it's like me and you are getting like first experiences with it and stuff. But I've never even heard of The Shed.
This one was kind of cool too because it was kind of newer and like I just resubscribed to Shudder, so I'm like so excited to start going through Shudder.
When you sent them all to me as soon as I saw Abigail, I was like, no, we have to review this one because we just saw it. So I was like, and it was so good. I was like, no, we have to review this one.
When you subscribe to Shudder, are you subscribed to Shudder through Shudder, or do you go through Amazon and use the Amazon version of Shudder? Pro tip: Amazon version sucks.
Oh, okay.
To scroll. So when you go to actually on the Shudder app, they have it broken down by subgenres and like horror comedy, and like it's so much better. Like the Amazon app like takes away all this what makes the Shudder app special. I actually canceled the Crunchyroll that we subscribe to, the Paramount and the Shudder, and I went to the actual websites and resubscribed because the apps are so much better on their solo versions.
Okay. No, I'll have to remember that. We're always looking for something to, you know what I mean? I just told you we're getting rid of Paramount Plus. So I'm down to get another one. You know what? I'm just canceling that. So I'll have to look into Shudder.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else when it
comes
comes
on the Amazon?
Yeah. Anything else when it comes to positives of this movie that you really like before we maybe dive into some negatives here?
No, other than it was just wonderful. I mean, I would highly recommend this movie to anybody. Let me put it that way. Like I don't really have like any like favorite key moments that I didn't already touch on, but great movie.
There was another thing that Lily picked up on the movie, and I don't know if there was a call to this. Maybe when I start going through the fun facts, it'll pop up. But how you said rats were shown a lot, bears were shown a lot too.
Oh,
there was like
notice.
4 or 5 different like bears mounted bearskin rug, and they always like the one scene that looks like something standing behind her, and you're like, what is behind her? And it's just a bear. And then like they zoomed on the bearskin rug, and then a couple scenes later they show another stuffed or mounted bear. Like really weird thing with the bears were being shown.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take notice to that next time I watch it. I honestly didn't. The rats, yes, that no.
Yeah, JDM. I tried describing Amazon Shutter and I missed the Joe Bob live special because I didn't realize that it was on live stream on Shutter. Yeah, the app is terrible. It's not good. Like even with the Crunchyroll, like you can't really browse the app. Unless you know what's on the app and you can physically type it in and search it. It doesn't really let you browse through its catalog. Shutter's app is pretty bad though. Like I'm trying to watch Dragula and its episodes are missing. They're mislabeled. It's bad. But
I didn't even know there was an app called Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll's more Japanese animation. I got it for Lily, but I'm starting to watch more Japanese animation. But like what I'm saying is like they break down a lot of different like you can find the stuff on it better on the actual apps, not the Amazon version. The only negative about this movie, and it's not even a deal breaker for me, but I felt like the movie was paced so well and everybody was so good. And then they get to the control room and they see the guy again who sets up the whole job. And from that point of the movie, it just 1,000 miles per hour. And it just rushed it. Like, I'm going to bite you and then you're going to become a vampire. And then you're immediately going to know how to use all your powers. You're going to be amazing at it. You're going to immediately kill me right after. And then just like straight to fight scenes. And then Abigail's your friend, but she's not your friend. Like it was just, there was like, for how structured and plotted it was from that moment on, the movie just like a gun's fired. It just took off.
I'm wondering if that had to do with them having to come back and reshoot.
Maybe.
I'm wondering. I'm just curious because you're right with that. I didn't even think about that at all. And now that you say it, it's so true. And I wonder because I didn't even know that they had to reshoot anything. So I'm wondering if they had to do that. Because you're right, it does. It has such a nice pace right up until it gets to that part. That is so true.
Yeah, and then it just takes off, and it just seems like nothing else. There's not that it wasn't planned, but it was just like I don't know. It became more of a kung fu movie at that point. Yeah. Like wrap it up. We're coming up to a deadline, and it sounded like it was sped up to get to where it needed to be. That was my only critique. Overall, do you have any negatives? I'm sorry.
I just didn't like Dan Stevens' character. I thought he was an asshole. But like in that, but that's just like a personal thing. I mean, I understand. His character was needed. It was there for a reason. But like he was one of those characters. Well, while you're watching, I'm trying to think of like another example where you're just watching and you're like, ugh. You know, like
the menacing aspect of the father. Yeah, they definitely set a tone of her dad being really scary.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. 100. Well, a name like Christoph Lazar.
Yeah, unless there's a reason for casting him as the dad, I felt like without showing him, right? And then at the very end, they reveal the dad, and it's just not, I don't want to say like a no-name actor, but somebody I really don't know. But could you imagine if they would have got like a well-known actor who played a vampire at some other movie at one point, and that's like her dad? Like that would have been a cool ending of like not like a Tom Cruise or a Brad Pitt, like her, like you know what I mean? Like they show up at the end, they're like, oh, that's a cool nod to, because they reference so much pop culture and vampires and horror movies throughout this entire movie. Like this movie takes place in our time because they reference like vampires, like they know everything about it. Like, oh, I watched. Oh, Gary Oldman would have been a good one too. Yeah, that was my only other thing is like the dad showed up and I was like, okay, cool. There he is. He looks like every other vampire. He played the role very well. But I think that cool Easter egg of maybe a little like old school vampire showing up would have been a cool yeah.
Or even I would even agree that I would have even took like like you said, like maybe an older, more well-known actor. You know what I mean? Like maybe even not one that was a vampire, but someone that, you know, was like, oh shit, you know, like that's her dad, you know, like I thought that would even have even been cool.
Yeah, Lily said I brought it the bear because it was so vastly found in Transylvania, and it was rumored that Vlad the Impaler had a pet bear. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So overall impressions.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm looking at the actor that played the dad. I just want to. Okay. Yeah.
Overall impressions, and did your movie experience change from what you thought it was when you're coming into it?
My overall experience was I was on the edge of my seat. So that was just me. I loved all of it. Laughed. It was awesome. Oh, the part I wanted to bring up real quick. The part when I said to you, like, oh, this is definitely rated R. When her hand got cut off.
Oh, and it explodes.
Like the bone was. Ugh. But my overall experience was great. Again, I would recommend it to anybody. And what was the other question?
What was your overall expectations coming in, and then did it change after the end?
No, because I didn't really have any expectations going in. I didn't know really, to be honest with you, what it was about. I just wanted to see it because it looked, again, a vampire ballerina. I was like, all right, sold. I'm totally
Yeah,
down with that. So I think I was just going into it just so fresh, that I didn't really have too many expectations. I was just like, okay, I want to watch this.
yeah,
So no, I think it exceeded thought it was going to be, or like not what I thought it was going to be, but it exceeded my non-expectations. Like, you know what
hmm
I mean? Like it definitely, it wasn't like I went in there blind and it disappointed me. It
yeah.
was, I went in there blind and it actually was awesome. So let me put it that way.
Did advertisement spoil the film for y'all? Yes. Well, it spoiled the fact that we knew Abigail was a vampire going in, definitely. But I will say this: knowing that Abigail was a vampire, the ballerina dancing what made her creepy. To me, they were awesome elements, and they still were taken to another level in the movie that I felt like the advertisements probably didn't show. But once again, the heist element aspect, the Clue aspect to it, where like they all have creepy, because the Clue is one of my favorite movies, and how everyone knew each other and they're connected, but they're connected to the main boss. Like I had that vibe. There was so much more to this movie than just a vampire girl that attached me to it, but also being a fan of a vampire enhanced the movie for me. And then like insert the comedy. The comedy was done really well. Like I said, like what's his name? The big goofy Russian dude. Like he stole the show in a lot of spots. Like he was like when he was like screaming and he's drunk and he's like and he's running from her. Like
a good way to think about it is like child ballerina vampire is at like the top of the pyramid. And then like there's just like a pyramid because there's so like, again, like Anthony said in the beginning of the podcast, knowing she was a vampire didn't take anything away from the experience because there was still so many other things going on, especially when you found out like that she, like, you know what I mean? The whole thing. Did we already spoil that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So. That she planned the whole entire thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there was so many aspects of it that her being a vampire was like just a cherry on top of like a whole other story.
Yeah, her and like the bodies in the pool, like this is something she's been doing for a long time, like for a while here. Like this is pretty wild for her. But like I think overall, I think the best scene for me in the whole movie was definitely the cage scene where she's locked in the cage and she's just toying with him. And she's and then the cop decides to stay with her and she's like, all right, I'm gonna let you out. I'll tell you exactly how to get out of here. You just gotta let me out of the cage. And he's like, no. And then she's like, okay, I'm done playing. And it just knocks the door down. And he's like, shit. Yeah.
Because that again, I'm sitting there like, why isn't she just ripping the door off? Like, why isn't she just using? Because again, that part, because she flew at one point too.
Yeah, she could levitate. Yeah.
Yeah, like, so I'm like, why aren't you using your powers? But then you think about it, and she's like, well, she's not using them because she's playing with them.
Yeah,
She
I like playing with my food.
If she wanted to rip them apart, she would. But she gets more satisfaction out of like this cat and mouse game. Okay, lock me in the elevator. I want to see what y'all are gonna do. Oh, you're not gonna let me out? Okay, well, poof. Like she was such a good character.
Good call out for Lily as well. She said during the watching it had House on Haunted Hill vibes too, where the whole house locks down, the windows get boarded up, the doors get like it essentially turns into a prison. It you know what I mean? Like you're not getting out of this. Bella said, "Would you overall storyline good or was it bad? So bad it's good." It was excellent. I thought the storyline and the storytelling and the character development was fantastic, and we'll kind of lead into it here. Scale of 1 to 5. Now, if it's your first time, I review beers and movies and everything. For me, 3 is a really good movie. I protect 4s and 5s with my life. It's hard for me to give a 4 and a 5. Really, really hard. 2 is still a decent movie. Like 2 is like a mediocre movie. 3 is good. 1 I probably wouldn't watch again. But for me on this one, I'm going with a 4. I really liked it.
That's what I'm going with too.
Yeah, this is gonna break the 4 for me. I thought it was really good. I would watch this again. I would recommend this to people. I would seek this movie out. This is going to rank on my all-time favorite horror whodunit vampire movies. Like this is
100%. And I think, and again, it's one of those movies where when you watch it over again, you pick up on things you didn't see before, which makes the movie even better. You know what I mean? Like, I like movies like that. Like, there's those movies where you watch them once and you're like, okay, I'll not, like, it was good, but I'll probably never watch it again, you know, unless it's just in front of me. This is something that you'd want to watch again to pick up on all the little things that you didn't pick up the first time. So I think that, and also it must be popular because it hasn't like gone to a streaming service yet, really. Like, it hasn't gone on like Netflix or, you know, usually they like sell them off as like they're, but it's still, as far as I know, on it, because it's on Shudder, right?
I don't know. I got it because someone gives me their Vudu account and they have all their digital movies. That's where I watched it.
Okay, it's still on because it's still, you still have to pay for it. So that's what I'm saying. It must be still very popular because it's still on Prime. Usually, again, after like a couple weeks, they take those movies and then drop the price down to like $5.99, and then they drop it down a little bit more, and then they start putting it on like Netflix and Hulu and selling them off. You know what I mean? Or
I'm shocked it's not getting pushed more, to be honest with you.
I know, but guess what? It's still $20 on Amazon Prime. It's still, so it must be making good money, or something must be going on. Because again, for how much we watch and rent movies, usually after like a week or two, the movie will drop down to $5.99. The Abigail's been out. So that means it's been out for the past several weeks and it's still $20 to buy. That must mean it's popular, or they would drop the price, you know, to get more viewership. I missed the comment. Hi, Laura.
People just saying hi. I love the only Hans. That's funny.
Only Hans.
Only Hans.
Only Hans.
Takeaways. Anything for this movie that you like? They took the only thing for me with takeaways is I feel like they're gonna try to cash in and make this a franchise. I think it's a mistake. I think it'll be a mistake. Only because the fact of the heist and the fact that the planning and all of that and the character stories and the character development, how do you recreate that again? Like, how do you get a new batch of people to do that again, but make us feel like we didn't watch the same movies you did before? And I feel like if you do a part 2, you would have to change the format almost completely.
Well, and also, how would they get that little girl again? You know what I mean? They wouldn't be able to have her again unless they, which I'm sorry, I hate when they do that shit, when they like they did it with the Orphan too. Like the girl, she's a woman now, and they're like, you know, making people taller, and you know, you could tell that she's older. Like, that's the whole thing. So like, how would they even do that unless they got a whole different character? Because I don't know.
All right, you got me. I think I kind of be interested in that. All right.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if they're creative enough to make this movie, I'm sure they could find another one. But it would make me nervous if I seen Abigail 2 on the charts. Let's get into our cool fun facts. Did you know? So the first one I have here is this is one of Angus Cloud's final roles before passing away in July 2023. Although production wasn't complete until months after his death due to the SAG strike, Cloud had filmed all of his scenes before production was shut down. So all his stuff was completely finished because he's removed from the movie sooner than later. But so they didn't have to do any reshoots for his stuff because all his stuff was done. We kind of talked about this before. Directors were so impressed with her dancing, they added more sequences of it to the film. Yeah. Do you have any?
Oh, JB let me know that this takes place in New York City, but it was actually filmed in Ireland at the Guinness Mansion.
So that's the Guinness Mansion they're doing?
That's what JB said. I mean, I'm not 110% sure, but that's what the All-American Time Traveling Boy said. So
listen, if he says it, I believe it.
Well, I saw him. He was sitting on his couch over here, and I looked at his phone, and he was looking at pictures of the mansion. Like, he was scrolling through pictures of the mansion.
Now I want to go to that mansion.
But I was also shocked. I was like, "Oh shit, this is filmed in Ireland?" Like, "Oh, okay." I
It's a
mean,
bucket list.
I guess it being set in that house, it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, I would have never known it was filmed in Ireland, but I mean, that's just
Yeah,
me.
that's same.
But yeah, I think that's the only one I have other than, and I think it's on there, was that they were named after the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few on here, but nothing that's really standing out to me. That's jumping out. When it
Is there
comes to
any
awards,
is there any word of a sequel?
not that I'm seeing yet. But it was on Rotten Tomatoes, it gets an 82%, which is pretty crazy. It gets a 6.8 out of 10. People seem to 62 out of 100. They're giving it a grade between a B to an A plus. Some gave it an F because you're dumb if you did. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, like I don't know, man. I really, really enjoyed this. I loved it. This is I don't really collect a lot of physical media anymore when it comes to movies, but I feel like if you're out and you see it at Walmart or something, I would definitely grab it. I think if you're yeah.
Home and you want to have like a special movie night. Honestly, it's worth the $20. It really and truly is. So, I mean, if you're like sitting at home and it's a Friday night or something, and you're like, well, let's watch a movie. I think it's worth it. That's just me. So
yeah, so I actually looked into this, Lily. It was a movie called Dracula's Daughter in
1936
or something. Yeah,
I do have that written down. 1936 film Dracula's Daughter. Mm-hmm.
I do have someone lined up for future episodes who wants to go back and redo all of the classic Universal monster movies. So that's coming up soon for the channel.
Right on.
What's your favorite one? Do you remember the classic Universal ones?
Yeah, like Dracula and Frankenstein and which also really quick, like side note, they were supposed to remake all those. They were supposed to do like a dark. Well, they did. The Invisible Man,
Wolfman,
the Mummy.
Benicio del Toro did the Wolfman, which was really good. Yeah,
I didn't see that. I'm gonna have to see that because I like him.
Really, yeah, I love him in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
How's your attorney?
I do. But and now they're actually doing a dark universe at Disney. They're doing like a dark universe where it's going to be like Frankenstein and Dracula. They're doing a whole section of the park like that. But my favorite, I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think of the ones I've seen. Maybe I haven't seen any of them, to be honest with you. I think I've seen Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein.
I would recommend. I'm with JDM on this one. Go watch Invisible Man. So the reason you have to think too, the special effects that they pulled off in this movie for its time are unbelievable. How they made an Invisible Man at this point in time and juncture of movie, and his voice is so good. The guy who does the voice, Claude Romero or something. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but here's a cool little tidbit when it comes to the podcast. So when I used to do this version of the podcast before, when I had a team, we used to work a lot with we were cool with the t-shirt company called Fright Rags. They make awesome horror movie and movie t-shirts. Claude Rains, thank you, in the chat. But so when Fright Rags got and they it's all officially licensed merchandise, and they're from upstate New York, so they're kind of close to us. They do a lot of cool stuff. Great t-shirt company, especially if you like horror. So they do they did a anniversary of Pet Sematary, and one of the only people who never really had merchandise for that movie was Zelda, the character Zelda. So Zelda, the person who played Zelda, is actually a dude. He's playing a woman in the movie, but he did so well in the auditions they gave him the role and made him a woman for the movie.
Oh shit.
But he's from Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, and he's part of the Bloomsburg Theater Ensemble. So we went to go see him perform. And then, like, a friend of the podcast was friends with him because he worked with him in Bloomsburg when he was going there for film school and acting school. So we met him, then met the Fright Rag guys, and then kind of worked together and like got him his first T-shirt with his face on it.
Oh shit, that's amazing.
It was awesome. And
that
then
is so cool.
And then they did when we were talking about doing movies and Fright Rag stuff. We got in contact with somebody who was writing a book with Claude Rains's daughter. She was like 80 some years old. Like she's up there. But when they redid the Invisible Man and the Universal Monster t-shirts through Fright Rags, she was able to own a t-shirt of her father that she hasn't had. Like a Universal Monster t-shirt with her dad hasn't been made in so long. And she before I don't know if she's still around with us. She may have passed away because it was probably like 4 or 5 years ago, but she got to have some of merchandise from her father through Fright Rags again. So we were actually able to connect the t-shirt line with the actual people who were involved with the productions a few times.
Oh, I love that. That is so cool. So cool.
Yeah, they're such a good company.
Neat.
I wear so much Fright Rag stuff.
I'm gonna have to check them out because actually, honest with you, JB loves Pet Sematary.
It's a good movie.
It is. No, it is. But he like he really likes Pet Sematary. Like if like he wanted to see the new one, he loves the old one, which is like just surprising to me. But now that I know that, I'm gonna have to see if he knows that they're from he's from Bloomsburg. Or that, that it was a man.
So when I get my camera and we come over, we're gonna watch the original Pet Sematary, and all three of us are gonna review it, right?
All right.
We locked in JD.
Yes.
I love the fact it's Herman Munster in the movie. Don't go in the woods.
I know. Or him and cousin Vinny too. When I saw him my mom had to tell me that. She's like, Dante, that's Herman Munster. I was like, it is? Because I was little. I didn't really like put two and two together, but
I actually liked the remake of Pet Sematary. I thought they did a good job with it.
I agree.
I would have never said in the trailer though that they changed the death between the little boy and the little girl. I would have never said a word. I would have had people think it was going to be the little boy the whole time and then flip it on them. My only critique would be with that. But so we did it. We did another one here.
Woo!
Everyone seems to really enjoy them. You and Sonny Defarge, I've been doing the Terminator series with, have been so much fun recording with. I didn't really think I'd be into Terminator as much as I am because I never really watched them until reviewing them with him, but I'm having a blast doing it. Another movie franchise that's coming up, my buddy Chuck will be doing, me and him will be doing the Hatchet movies. So if you're into Hatchet, that'll come up. We just finished Terrifier with Courtney, and I think Courtney wants to do the Human Centipede next because Courtney picks the wild ones. Trying to think what else we have coming up that's written down here. I know Barbarians on the list, Black Phone's on the list.
Good. Yep, both those are good.
The Harry Potter movies are on the list. So we have a lot. And then I have the brackets I was telling you about before, the brackets, like the vampire brackets. I want to do brackets of like actors and their filmography, and then like a March Madness pick your favorite type deal. And some of the ones I have lined up are Adam Sandler movies, Mark Wahlberg movies. There's a lot of Mark Wahlberg movies. Will Ferrell movies.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can kind of like battle to see who gets to there. V for Vendetta also on the list is coming too. Night of Demons 1 and 2 are great. They're good movies too. I wouldn't mind doing those. You never seen Night of Demons? No. I haven't seen them so long. It would be like watching them all over again. There's some movies I haven't seen in forever. It'd be like a fresh take for me. Joni says, I'm loving these movie reviews of both of you.
I love you, Joni.
We love you so much. She's so great. I love Joni. I actually made her a mod because she's so amazing.
I love Joni. She's great.
Yeah. But thank you everyone for coming in. If you it's your first time, hit subscribe. Or we're trying to grow the channel. We are monetized now. Myself and Dante both have merchandise links that you can check out in our link tree below. I know I just dropped a whole bunch of logos of stuff that we have going on. We couldn't find the Abigail font, so we couldn't do an Abigail font t-shirt this time around because I think it's like a custom font, and if someone knows what it is and we can get it, let me know. But it's been a lot of fun. And anything you want to plug or get out there before we get out of here?
No, everyone knows where to find me.
Yeah. Tucky Talks. If anybody wants to go and support anything, if anyone's in the Pennsylvania area, myself and Lily from Witchcrafts at Lily will be in Harrisburg on Saturday for the Pride Pub Crawl. We'll be doing that. And then if you're in the Pennsylvania, Wilkes-Barre-Scranton area, on Sunday is Wilkes-Barre Pride. So we'll be doing that. And then on Monday, we'll kind of promote this one here. I will be doing another interview with another member of the drag community, which I'm excited. So I had a drag queen, a drag king, and now I get my first drag monster. So Misfit will be on the podcast.
Oh my God, I love her. Oh my God, I've seen her perform. She's amazing.
She was the devil at the
good.
sanctuary.
Yes, you were there. Yeah.
Yep. And then they are hosting an event on the 30th called Say Gay Brunch in Wilkes-Barre, where it's a brunch and drag show performance. So we'll be at that to wrap up all of our Pride events. Have you gone to any Pride events this year?
I have not, but me and you were talking before we came on here. I might go to Sundays in Wilkes-Barre. I'm just not sure yet. I have to talk to the mister, and but maybe I might be coming. I haven't yet, and I feel weird that I haven't yet. I should at least do one, but also I'm not really like a big crowds or people person. So
yeah, I'm debating. I don't know if I'm gonna do it this year or maybe next year, but I have a Jesus costume and I have very long hair. I have a beard. I want to go to Pride as Jesus with my with my ally flag around me, and just and have like a sign that says free hugs, like a free hug. Like,
should.
You know what I mean?
I think
like,
you totally should.
But I'm not Christian, so I don't want to like make fun of people's beliefs, even though I'm not that thing. But I just think the overall idea is like the church is against you. Like, no, you're not. Not this Jesus. Not fat Jesus. Fat Jesus loves everybody.
I don't think it's making fun of anything. I think it's fine, because I think that's how Jesus would really be if Jesus was real.
Agreed. Yeah. So I'm debating, and plus it's gonna be so fucking hot. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I might just back out.
Well, save it, because there's Pride. Like, sometimes there's Pride events in like August. You know what I mean? Like, because like they have to spread them out so much, because not everyone in Pennsylvania could fit in June. There's just so many of them. Yeah. I saw something for Pride in August. I forget what it was. I just saw it recently though.
Yeah, and Pride shouldn't just be your one time of the month. Support, drag communities and Pride events and Pride community and Pride artists all year round. It shouldn't just be for a couple days out of a month. Show that pride and support the entire time, because that's what you should do. Right. That's love is love, and that's what we're all about. And I love you, Dante. And we had another blast
too, Anthony. Yes, we did.
Yes. I cannot wait for the next one. We will definitely get with you soon on what movie we're picking next. I know The Shed is on the list. We'll say for now it is The Shed until we both look on Shudder and say, like, have you seen this? And then we'll probably switch up. You know what I'm watching currently? I have to finish watching. I started half of it. The new Amy Winehouse movie, Back to Black. So far, it's really good. It's really, really good. I really want to watch the Amy Winehouse one, and then there's a Bob Marley one I want to see.
I saw the previews for the Bob Marley one, but I was hearing so much like debate about the Amy Winehouse one. That's why I'm like curious of like how is it?
So far, so we haven't gotten to like crazy Amy yet. Like, I mean, she's always kind of nutty, but like she hasn't been like, she's not Beehive Amy yet. She's still like the dude hasn't fully broke her heart yet.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Yes. When I went to London, in Camden, I found the Amy statue in Camden in London, and I hugged it. I love you some Amy. Yeah.
I know. I love Amy too.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's wrap it up, because I get a couple minutes here to go sit in a pool, and then in about 45 minutes I'll be live again. If you're into professional wrestling, I'll be doing a live watch along of Monday Night Raw, so you guys can come hang out. Woo! Other content that's out right now you can go check out. We just did What If Ric Flair joined the WWF in 1988. Interviewed Pedro Velasquez, who is a film student from Temple, who just did a 12-minute short film on independent wrestling, which is really cool. Slamboree 94 was a review we just did. We just talked about Terrifier 2. Rojas, a local independent wrestler who's at a catch point in Philadelphia. And Terminator 2, all out now. So that's pretty much all we got going on for the rest of the month. And we have more content. Every Sunday we do wrestling, and then throughout the week we do either interviews or movie reviews. So we have a lot of fun stuff coming, with more on the way.
Hell yeah. And also, real quick, someone mentioned over here Slumber Party Massacre. I'd love to see that.
Slumber Party Massacre.
And someone was just talking about it this past weekend. I was just talking about that movie with someone was talking to me about it, and I was like, no, I've never seen that. Now it's coming up again, and I'm like, maybe it's like a sign, like I need to watch it or something, like, because it's like popping up too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll look into it. If there's movies that you guys have recommendations for, please DM one of us, and we'll definitely add them to the list.
Yes, 100%.
The director got kicked a long time ago. We don't support him either. What? Oh, the director of Slumber Party Massacre. Interesting. Think he got canceled.
Oh. Of the remake or the old one? I didn't know there was a remake.
I think the one. I think you're thinking of Camp Sleepaway. That's the old one. I think you're thinking.
No,
of.
I'm not thinking of. I know what Camp Sleepaway.
The one, yeah.
I'll never. No, because the Mahoning Drive-In has a weekend where they do Slumber Party Massacre. Like they have like a whole weekend dedicated to it. And when we were at the Mahoning Drive-In this past weekend, they were talking about it, and that's why I'm like, and now this person's bringing it up, and I'm like, well,
We'll look into it.
This. Yeah, yeah.
Listen,
yeah,
I'm gonna do the entire Harry Potter franchise, and J.K. Rowling can get hit by a train, but that people still believe in that in the universe she created, even though she's a shit human being. But the actors put a lot of really hard work into that, and I think here's the thing, man. Art, right? Art in general, whether it's I'm in the pro wrestling industry, right? So, some people you grow up loving and they're your idol, and then you find out when they get older that they were horrible humans, and you really have to figure out the separation of art and the artist, and because what if that movie, regardless of who made it, helped that person get through something in their life? Or what if Harry Potter to someone was so special it made their childhood better? Does it take away everything because they got to? Because the director is a shit human, it's tough. It's a tough
agree with that.
Yeah. Oh,
it's like a fine line.
I'm going to see Godzilla 1985 in the Mahoning Drive-In. Dude, I seen a little bit of it. I had to, because I was too sleepy. And I didn't want to ruin it for myself. But the new Godzilla on Netflix, it's like a Japanese-made Godzilla movie that hasn't been done in a long time. He's not as big. He's kind of like old school Godzilla, but the little bit I seen of it was cool. Was really cool.
Okay. All right. Right on.
I love.
We're always looking for recommendations, so I'm down to check that out.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get out of here. Finally, ADHD is going to keep kicking in. If we keep reading the comments, we'll be here all night long. But here's some music by the Converse Kid, and we'll see you soon for the next one. Bye-bye. This is an ABJ podcast production. Join us. Would you kindly join us at the Cult of ABJ Discord community? We'll see you there. Join us.